Phil Wang, and welcome to Unspeakable. This is the show about inventing brand new words, created by 3 amazing guests. Words are powerful things. Anyone who says words can't hurt you has clearly never closed a book too fast in the nude. Now, we're going to meet our panel very shortly, but first, let's welcome our expert of expressions, the Dumbledore of the dictionary. It's Susie Dent. Hi, Susie. How are you doing?
Hello. I'm very well, thank you. And I would love to be a Dumbledore. Do you know what Dumbledore used to mean?
No, please
It's
tell
a
us.
bumblebee.
Ah.
And I think the idea is that Professor Dumbledore hums as he walks around his office. I think that was the idea.
Great. Well, Susie, could you please give us a wonderful word that you might have come across recently that's stuck in your mind?
Yeah, I can't think why this one came to my head particularly, but a lampadato in Italian is somebody with a deep and telltale sunbed tan.
Right. So when the American president is in Italy, he's Trumpadato, I guess.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, now the challenge is, can our panel come up with any brand new words as ingenious as lampadato? Let's meet them and find out. Joining us for this episode are the fantastic Clive Anderson, Ed Gamble, and Sindhu Vee. Clive, thank you so much for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you. Now, you trained as a barrister.
Well, I practiced as a barrister, actually.
Oh, wow.
I got beyond training. If I remember, I got you off something, didn't I?
Clive, you also famously once upset the Bee Gees, and they stormed out of an interview. So do you
I
not
don't
like...
remember that.
Do you not like words, or do you just prefer the Boys Own cover version? Sindhu Vee, you are the second guest we've had on Unspeakable, after Jack D last series, to have a name that is also a letter of the alphabet. We tried to get the Bee Gees, but Clive kiboshed that idea. Sindhu, do you have a favourite word that we can say on the radio?
Modicum. First of all, it sounds very businesslike.
Yeah.
It's modicum. Like no messing around. But it also means not a lot and not a little. So it's kind of a messy word, but not a messy, like cost you.
I think it's like a Goldilocks word, isn't it? In Swedish they have lagom, which is not too much, not too little. Just
yes.
right.
Right.
Yeah, modicum's a little bit like that.
Yeah.
Have a modicum of decorum. That's what my headmistress used to say.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
She sounds like a laugh.
Absolutely.
Ed Gamble.
Hello.
Yes, you've written a book about food.
Yes.
Are there any food-related words you like?
Yeah, big fan of spatchcock.
That's when you squish a chicken, right?
You squish a chicken, you cut the spine out of the chicken and then squish the chicken flat. And I like it because normally a chicken doesn't look up for being eaten.
No, it doesn't. It's all closed up.
Curled up. It's like, no, get away. But once you spatchcock, it's like, come get me.
Right, let's play Unspeakable. Each of our guests has come armed with a brand new word of their own invention that describes an experience, emotion, object, or sensation that currently has no word to define it, to help cure that all too common feeling when we're quite literally lost for words. Whichever word I deem to be the most useful for humanity will be added to the one true book of books. No, not my first edition copy of the Bible. Signed by the authors, don't you know? I'm talking about the Unspeakable Dictionary. Yes, we've got a prop for a radio show. So let's start the game with our first word, which comes from none other than Clive Anderson. Clive, please give us your word, then tell us a brief definition and why you're so keen for it to be created.
Well, this word is who plummet. It's based on the word we have, who done it, a mystery as to who did the murder. But this is a game you play when you go to, well, it could be in people's houses, I suppose, but I experience it in hotels. Expensive hotels, cheap hotels. They all do the same thing. They can't help changing the plumbing around. So the last important invention in plumbing was the mixer tap, when you could mix hot and cold water to your own pleasure and choice. Now you go there, there's two different knobs, and you turn one and nothing happens. Then you turn the other one, the water comes along. But now it's scalding hot because the first thing you turned up the temperature. And then the next hotel you go into, it's all arranged in a different way. Sometimes they forget to put a little red dot or a blue dot to tell you which is hot and cold. And then when you get in the shower, it's even worse, because now you're standing in the figure. So who plumbed it? Why is there this little game you have to play to work out? Wow, nothing was needed. There was no need to change anything. It's just keeping them in business.
This sounds like a very convenient excuse not to wash your hands.
It's interesting because when I first moved to the UK, I was baffled by your simple plumbing system, which was a hot tap and a cold tap. So if you wanted middle water, you had to go, you couldn't. And I thought, well, they really haven't progressed. But now you're saying, no, I mean, seriously.
When did you come to the country first? We've had mixer taps since ever I can remember.
Not in universities.
No.
Exactly. Not for students. They were okay to be frozen, boiled.
I find the plumbing thing with anyone's house I go and stay in. Other people's houses all have a long list of almost a magic spell on how to work the shower.
Yeah.
There'll be a long talk when you go in where they're like, well, make sure, of course, you're standing on one leg when you take the shower. Because otherwise it'll be absolutely roasting hot. But if you stand on the wrong leg, it'll be freezing cold.
There's a hairline between a nice temperature and certain death.
There's no happy medium. There's no modicum. There's no modicum temperature.
So I also get confused by hotel bathrooms. Which is a cold tap? How does a shower work? Who is this old lady and why is she screaming at me? So many questions. Susie, this must be a common feeling, I think, right? To be confused by an alien bathroom. Has Clive opened the floodgates for us here, do you think?
It's a nice example of some of the respellings that you'll find in the dictionary. Whodunit, as you said, Clive. And OK was the result of a respelling back in the 1830s. So it was a respelling of all, O-R-L, and correct, K-O-R-R-E-K-T. And it would have just disappeared, but for a presidential candidate who was representing Kinderhook in upstate New York, I think.
Joe Biden, wasn't it?
And his nickname was Old Kinderhook, and he used OK. All correct, Old Kinderhook.
So this intentionally fake spelling of all correct, oral correct, was like a joke.
Not oral correct, I think. All correct.
It is very important to get that correct.
Yes.
Who Plummet, of course, not to be confused with Who Plummet, my other new panel show, where contestants have to, using only their screams, identify which C-list celebrity has just jumped out of a plane without a parachute. It's like The Masked Singer, but with more dignity. I'll be judging whether Who Plummet is the most deserving of a place in the Unspeakable dictionary at the end of the show. But thanks for bringing it, Clive Anderson! Now, here at Unspeakable, we don't just make up new words, we like to shine a light on some dusty corners of the English language for some old words that it might be worth bringing back. So, it's over to Susie to present our regional word of the week.
Well, this comes from Scots, again, and crinky winky. A crinky winky is a really lame excuse.
A crinky winky is also something that happens to all us men as we get older.
Funny you should say that, actually, because a crinkum crankum was once a euphemism for part of the female anatomy, and it was defined in a very old dictionary as a woman's commodity. Crinkum crankum. There you go, the crinkum crankum and the crinky winky come together.
That's a rather more entertaining version of the Teletubbies, isn't it?
All right, well, it is time for our second word of the show, and that's been brought to us by Sindhu Vee. Sindhu, please tell us your word, then give us a brief definition, and tell us why it matters so much to you.
Okay. The word is cutation. It's a physical feeling or perception resulting from coming into contact with something that is experienced as cute. For example, there was complete cutation when the puppy waddled into the room. Or, how do I tell my friend I had zero cutation around her baby? Why we need this word is because cute things are always happening around us, or not, but they aren't the same as like beautiful things or things that bring joy. You know, cute is its own feeling.
Right.
You know, like you can see something that's cute, but it's not bringing you joy. Do you know? Or you can see something that's joyful, but it's not cute, like pizza. You know what I mean?
What about a tiny pizza?
No.
That's
No,
cute.
but that's not cute. That's weird. So my word is cutation.
Cutation. So is that feeling when you go, oh, that
Yes.
kind of, yes.
Yeah, that can also be it. And that's a kind of more, that's when you experience it in a very slightly violent way. When you think, oh, that puppy is so cute, I want to mash it up. That kind of thing. But that's only cute, I do think, though, that when you have cutation, it will allow men to say things are cute. I know some men who don't want to say, oh, that's a cute puppy, but they'll be like, oh, I'm having cutation.
Right.
It sounds more macho if you're a macho type.
I'm feeling cutation.
I'm feeling cutation.
In my muscles.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, right on. Alas, the way in for us.
Yeah.
I'll say anything's cute, but I do understand that feeling of sometimes it feels like it's going to spill over into you eating the thing.
Or putting it in a blender first.
Oh. No?
Okay.
But it is that feeling of just like, oh, come here, I'm going to do something.
And that what you're experiencing is cutation.
Cutation.
Yeah. Good.
Yes.
Susie, what do you think of Sindhu's word? Gap in the dictionary here?
Yeah, and there is actually a word in Tagalog in the Philippines which is gigil, and it is exactly that. It is finding something so irresistibly cute you have to squeeze it, and very often the squeezee is not happy about it at all. But gigil, it's just, as you say, you just have to.
It doesn't have to be squeezy. Sometimes you have a dog and you think, come over here, doggy, so I can screw off your nose and put it in a box and look at it every day. So, you have cute...
I'm not happy with where this conversation is.
Sorry.
I would just
yours are
nice
way-
and purely say, you're so cute I could eat you. I think that's as far as I would go.
Fair. Listen, none of this has to be said once we start saying, oh my God, the amount, like my cutation right now is off the charts. People are like, we get it. She's doing something.
If a child expressed these feelings, people would think he was a psychopath. But unscrewing noses and dogs and things.
No, I think if a kid said, oh, I found something so cute, I want to take its eyes out, I'd be like, I hear you. They're not going to do it, but it's because we don't have a word to express that.
What about a pug? A pug's very squished. Nothing you can really take off. It's all
That
flat.
squish once Sindhu's been here.
That used to be a Labrador.
Well, that's our second word, cutation. Will cutation be sweetening the unspeakable dictionary? We'll find out soon. But for now, thanks for bringing it, Sindhu Vee. Soon we'll be discovering our third contender for that coveted place in our ultimate dictionary. But first, here at Unspeakable, we're an exclusive club. We operate a one-in, one-out policy. So to make space, we're giving our panelists the chance to suggest a word they'd like to see banished to oblivion in the word jail. Ed, let's start with you. What word would you like to get rid of?
Easy choice, brunch.
Interesting. Presumably not the activity.
No, I don't think the activity exists.
Then what is it when you have a meal between breakfast and lunch?
Well, it's not a meal in between breakfast and lunch. That's not what people do, is it? They use it to replace one of those meals. So what they're having is a late breakfast or an early lunch. I refuse to believe brunch exists, hence the word should be abolished.
Very good.
Also, I don't like the culture around it. It's very annoying and shrill.
Right, yes. It's a very Prosecco-y, very...
Yeah, I don't want to go too far down that path because it's just going to sound like I hate women.
Sorry, you said shrill, and I thought, I know where he's going with this.
Gents can be shrill. Yeah, I just think it's just a bit much, the bit of bottomless brunch, and just it's not. To me, it's just admit what you're doing. Bring back individual meals.
Susie, brunch.
I quite like it, because it's one of the earliest portmanteaus that we have. So it's from the 19th century, so it's been around for ages. But you said you didn't like the milieu. Oxford slang, apparently, and tea was called a smug at that time. But can I also just add in a meal fact? The word luncheon is recorded after lunch. So luncheon was probably... Yes, it was probably an attempt to poshify, if that's a word, lunch. Just as Welsh rabbit was the original, not Welsh rarebit, because it was an insult towards the Welsh. The dictionary is full of those, I have to say. But it was Welsh rabbit because the Welsh apparently couldn't afford to eat meat, so they just had cheese on toast instead. That was the idea. And then we decided to embellish it with Welsh rarebit.
There's lots of problems around what we call a meal in the middle of the day, isn't it? Some people call it lunch, some people call it dinner.
I say dinner to mean the supper, basically.
Yeah.
Well, that's another name.
The
for it.
third, that's to say supper. That's the last meal of the day, and then actually just before I go to bed, I have my shame trough.
Or it could be sinner, couldn't it?
Sinner.
Oh,
That's really good. Sindhu, how about you? What word do you think needs to be shown the red card?
Okay. The word I want to put in jail is ho, H-O, as in whore. Because the word ho is becoming very common usage for teens, like, what's for lunch, ho?
Or even worse, what's for brunch, ho?
Yeah. My problem with this word is, what will it say to younger children about Santa?
Absolutely.
Right?
I won't go to a grotto unless he says the proper ho.
He has to say, exactly. So I think that's too confusing, because Santa says ho, because that's a Santa thing. And so I think the way to do it is we stick with the original word if any teen wants to use that word at home. And so the teen should say, what's for lunch, whore?
Yeah, much better.
Yeah.
That certainly solves the issue. Susie.
It's still marked in the dictionary as being offensive. So not that teens will care about that.
Well, that's their brand. That's why they're using it.
And I quite like to think that actually what they're saying is not whore, but ahoy. You know, as a way of getting attention.
They're not, Susie.
Okay.
They're not saying what's for lunch, ahoy. They're saying what's for lunch, ho.
Yeah.
In that case, ho is derived from ahoy, as in land ho. That kind of
Exactly.
There it is.
It's a way of attracting attention. That's how Soho got its name, because it was a huntsman's call. Soho! And it was a
Still
command
works
to the
today
dogs.
around there, to be honest.
Yeah, it was used by huntsmen.
Okay, and finally, Clive. What word would you like to send to the slammer?
Well, oddly enough, it's the other half of Soho. It's the word so. Now, I don't agree with all the so's in the world, because the so is a tiny little word, but it's very, very useful in all sorts of contexts. But it's the irritating use of so at the beginning of every answer to every interview on the Today programme on Radio 4, and any politician or any expert, and they're asked, why are you adding to taxation? Instead of saying, well, we run out of money, they go, so, what happened 25 years ago? And they answer a completely different question. And they answer another question, and they go, so, which should link from the question to the answer, but in fact it's used to avoid the question and go on to something else. If you're Australian, they do a completely different thing. They say, look, at the beginning of every answer. So
there are a lot of dangerous animals in that country.
So has become a bit like. Which is used often and often.
Oh, listen to that. Listen to the consternation in this room.
But I assume you've covered that in
the
the first series of this programme.
I don't think so. No,
all right, I want to put like in there. Either or both of those.
So, Susie, what do you think about getting rid of so?
Well, let me start with like. Like is a filler, because I know we all love to trash it, and Love Islanders particularly use it. But first used as a filler in 1778. We've been doing it for ages. But so it's one of those pesky Americanisms that we love to hate that actually is an Americanism, because most of them aren't. Most of them were ours to begin with. But it came from Silicon Valley, and it was a way of validating yourself and sounding confident and things. But there was one interview which was hilarious, where the interviewer got so cross with this that he started to preface everything with anyway, as a kind of revenge. So they had this preamble off. It was so, and then anyway. And the anyway won, and by the end of it, the so was just a whimper. That was my favourite.
Thank you all for those suggestions for word jail. Okay, those badly behaved words have now had their verbal visas revoked. It's now time to hear our third contender for the Unspeakable Dictionary. And this one is the creation of Ed Gamble. Ed, please give us your word, then tell us what it means and why it matters to you.
So, it feels good.
I
feel powerful.
I did go, let's listen to this.
Yeah. Clive went mad. I felt him get angry as it happened. My word is panicure, and is the act of nervously biting your nails.
All the way down to the cutation.
All the way down to the cutation. I don't think there's ever been a word for it that I've known of, and I regularly nervously bite my nails. I've not consciously cut my nails for, I'd say, 25 years. This is pure teeth, baby. And I just think panicure is the absolute perfect word for it. I mean, there's not much more to say, Phil. I've won. Give me the prize.
But you don't strike me as a nervous guy, Ed. You feel very chill. I can't imagine you sort of cartoonishly.
It's because I get all of my stress and anxiety out on my nails. I wake up in the morning, I have a little chew. I've done it since I was a tiny little boy. My mum really wanted me to stop doing it, and I don't know whether parents still try this, but this was a big craze at the time. She got this solution that...
Stop and grow.
Yeah, stop and grow. Where you could paint on your children's nails. That meant every time they went to nervously bite their nails, it was like this disgusting tasting thing. And I said to her, well, that's not going to work with me. And she said, why? I said, because I'm going to train myself to like the taste of the stuff. And I did. I consciously remember biting the nails, having that disgusting bitter taste, and telling myself, you enjoy that. And next thing you know, I'm back to giving myself a panicure.
Wow.
And that's where your love of food began.
Exactly.
I used to give myself actual panicures because I used to bite my nails, and my mother didn't use some medicine or whatever that. She would put your fingers in chili powder and then rub it off, but chili powder really stays. So, and in school you'd be like, and you couldn't make yourself like the taste because your eyeballs would have fallen out. You'd be crying. And so she used to say to me, you can't bite your nails. It's not ladylike. So what I used to do is bite them really beautifully, so it would look like I had, cut my nails. Mm-hmm. So I actually was giving myself panicures. And now when you say that word, I'm like, oh, that's what I was doing.
Yeah.
Wow.
And also, Mommy was psycho. I didn't know there was a medicine you could buy. I thought all moms did that.
Yeah, no, we weren't a chili powder household.
No, okay.
But it's work, because as a result, you've got beautiful nails, whereas Ed has got hardly any fingers left.
Yeah, but it would be...
Horrible, gnarled little stumps.
No, they're not. They're fine.
Susie, what do you think about panicure?
I think it's really clever. I also like because panic goes back to the god Pan, who apparently used to hide out in the woods at night, and whenever he saw passers-by, he would either play the panpipes in this really eerie way, or he would make incredibly weird noises, and they'd run off panicked.
Oh. I think we have that guy in my local park. Don't know where the god in our midst.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ed, for your wonderful word, panicure. Give it up to Ed Gamble. So, to summarise, we have Who Plummet from Clive Anderson, Cutation from Sindhu Vee, and Panicure from Ed Gamble. The question is, which one deserves a place in the prestigious Unspeakable dictionary? All three contestants are currently giving themselves a panicure. By the power invested in me, I've decided that our champion is... Ed Gamble! Now, before we go, we've got just enough time to see if our audience have any suggestions that they'd put in the Unspeakable dictionary. So first, we have Laura from New Zealand.
Hello.
Hi, Laura.
Hi.
What word would you like to add to the dictionary?
So this is actually a bit of a Trojan horse, because I was actually worried my friend here was going to enter a word and I was going to filibust it. So she was going to enter the word brang, instead of brought, because she thought it sounded like a word and therefore it should be. And my belief is, well, the moon looks like a planet, doesn't mean it should be. So I'm just here to make sure she doesn't get that entered in.
Wow.
Because I was an English teacher for 5 years, so Susie is our patron saint. So it's a bit awkward to be before her now, but nevertheless. So yeah, just I never quite had my timbers quite so shivered when she made that suggestion.
So this is a negative pitch for... What's your friend's name, Laura?
This is my friend Catherine from Canada.
Your
Catherine
ex-friend.
from... Wow, holy crap. You just met in the middle, huh? You just...
I think think brang's that. You know how we just lazily stick an ed on the end of verbs these days? Like I texted you yesterday. I think we should. I'm sorry to say this, but I think.
Oh dear.
Well, I think it should be. It should be. I toxed you yesterday, or instead of
Right.
chided, you should have. Well, if it didn't have another meaning, I showed you yesterday. And that kind of thing. So I brag.
Why, you looked right in my eyes when you
Well,
said
I
that.
brag. So I'm afraid.
No, that's a real crisis of faith.
Okay.
But I think
Yeah.
Canada wins that round.
We also have Faye from Cambridge.
Hi.
What word would you like to add to the dictionary?
So I can't take credit for this one. So this one is from my friend Killian. One time I accidentally misspelt the word apricity, which I'd learned from one of Susie's tweets. And I'd spelt it as aspicity. And he is a Latin nerd, so he very kindly back-coined it for me from the Latin asper for rough or harsh.
Oh, yeah.
So aspicity is now the bite of winter chill.
Oh, I love that. So it's the opposite of apricity,
Yes.
which is the warmth on a chilly day,
That's
the
it,
warmth of the
yes.
sun. Aspicity.
You like that?
I love that. I'm going to start using that one. Yeah, the bite of a winter's day.
Oh, wow.
That's
well done.
gorgeous.
You've given
Thank you,
Susie Dent
Killian.
a word.
And you.
Very
Yeah.
kind
Laura's screaming inside right now. Okay, well, our final word of the show goes to Susie. Susie, please give us one for the road.
I give you a word from the 17th century, which was cover slut.
I did not
And-
see it going there. Okay.
No, not what you think. So a cover slut is such a useful word. It's a garment or an item of clothing worn over the top of another in order to hide an unsightly stain.
Oh, yes, because slut originally meant messy.
It meant messy. It did not. Yes, it was not on the
your
hoe
reputation.
realm of things. It was, yeah, exactly. And there was also a slut hole. No, that was simply an area where you threw all your rubbish. You know, where you threw all your messy stuff, and we've all got one of those. Well, you know, like the corner of your bedroom where you just.
Just sounds like a bin, to be honest.
No, not like rubbish, but just sort of,
Clothes.
you know, crumpled clothes and that kind of thing. That was a
Miscellanea.
slut hole. Yeah. So cover slut, Phil.
Cover slut. That's
Yes.
also my ambition for Playboy. I've been. I keep sending in my pics. They keep sending them back. It's a dance as old as time. And that brings us to the end of the show. Clive's wondering if he dares to brave the bathroom. Ed's biting his nails, watching Clive make his decision. And Sindhu thinks they're both being adorable. Thanks very much to the always brilliant Susie Dent and to our wonderful guests, Clive Anderson, Ed Gamble, and Sindhu Vee. I'm Phil Wang. This has been Unspeakable. Goodbye. Unspeakable was presented by Phil Wang and Susie Dent, with guests Clive Anderson, Ed Gamble, and Sindhu Vee. It was devised by Joe Varley. Additional material was written by Matthew Crosby and Katie Story, and the producer was John Harvey. It's a Brown Bread production for BBC Radio 4.